So, welcome. As I mentioned in an earlier post, this is going to be a preview of the a new course that I'm putting together for everyday endurance athletes. Welcome, and it'll be 6 strength classes that each build on each other. And then I'm going to add in as a bonus 6 recovery classes like this that you'll be able to use after every workout. So today, and in our recovery, we're going to start in a child's pose. And in child's pose, if you want to, you can have a block or a book or something. First of all, get your big toes together and your knees wide out to the side of the mat. And then let's sink our butt back to our heels as much as we can. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing. You're going to start to feel this in your knees perhaps, and if this is too much, you can always come into a puppy pose, which is having your knees straight and doing the same thing. It's kind of a half a downward dog. So for our purposes, for a child's pose, it's going to extend our hands as we can. And what the block can be useful for, especially in the beginning, is to put your forehead on it. So it becomes a rest pose, but you're able to do some of the is inhale and come up a little bit with our torso, even lift up on our hips. And then the exhale is to try to straighten our back and lengthen our arms so that we start to feel this in our shoulders and in the back of our hamstrings and into our glutes. So it's inhale and straighten. So inhale into your belly and then exhale and come down. So when you're inhaling, you should be able to feel your belly expand on your thighs. It's kind of a weird feeling. Recovery is to open up joints, lengthen muscles, expand. I don't know if that's what the word you would use, your fascia. Stretch it out. And do this in a short amount of time, 10 minutes, so that it's something you can quickly do after any workout, even if you just do parts of it. I did a lot of riding over the weekend, and then today joined a friend down on the lakefront. We did some kettlebell workouts, and it was like, whoa, it was a little bit different, so I'm definitely feeling it. So we hold these poses for a little bit and move while we breathe. So let's come into a downward dog. Hands at the top of the mat, curl your toes under, and come in to the downward dog. So the inhale in a downward dog is to come up on our tiptoes, and the exhale is sinking a heel down at a time. So we're kind of working our calf muscles on the exhale. And when you inhale into your belly, the exhale then becomes very slow because you're just relaxing. And inhale and just drop your collarbones down. So the goal in downward dog is to have a relatively straight line, have a V. So a line from your hips to your heels and from your hips to your hands. And the hands one is always the challenge because that means your shoulders come down, and my shoulders don't work that well. All right, so now we're going to come from here. We're going to roll forward into a Cobra pose. Now, in Cobra, the idea of Cobra is to really start to open up our back. And if Cobra is too much, you can come down into a Sphinx. And a Sphinx would have your hands out, your elbows out, and you're doing the same thing where you're lengthening your spine. So or you can come into a baby Cobra, which I always find harder than a full Cobra because your elbows are bent. But what we're doing is trying to bring our shoulder blades back, opening up our chest. The inhale is to lift up our hips a little, and the exhale is to let your hips fall and your spine lengthen. So in all of these recovery poses, they're all yin yoga, or the passive ones, where we just let gravity take over on the exhale. So we're active in that we're moving with our breath, but we're not really trying, like in a warrior pose or a crescent lunge, we're not trying to get deep into a pose. We're trying to let gravity bring us deeper, to open up our body for better recovery. And so I'm just trying to let my shoulder blades relax and come together. Open up my shoulders. Let's do a little bit, because your wrists are getting tired after a certain point. So let's come into a downward dog again. And then we're going to come into a pigeon, or a half pigeon pose. And we're going to do it a little bit differently than you may be used to. So we'll inhale, right leg up, bring your right knee forward, and then rotate your foot around a little bit so that it's like your heel is by your left thigh. But then start to bring your left knee back as far as it'll go, comfortably. Now, sleeping pigeon is bringing your elbows down, and we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to stay upright like we were with Cobra. And what this does is it gets at our hip flexors on our left side a little bit more. So the inhale will be to bring our left hip forward, and the exhale will be to bring our right butt cheek just a little bit closer to the mat. And we'll inhale in. So we're just doing a little bit of a hip rotation. With our breathing. So this is the exhale, and we just slowly release the air in our belly through our nose. Inhale into our nose. And exhale. All right, we'll do this one more time. And really start to feel a lot. So when you're upright, you get more of the hip flexor than you would when you're down, because it's more opened. All right, I'm going to curl my left toe underneath. Come back into a downward dog. Hold this for just a moment. And just breathe. Okay, now I'm going to lift my left leg up, bring my left knee forward, and rotate my foot, and then try to bring my right knee back as far as I feel like I can. All right. The inhale is to bring my right hip forward. The exhale is to bring my left butt cheek closer to the mat. So pigeon poses, we've done them before on Yoga for Recovery because they, along with lunges, are some of the best hip openers when it comes to recovery and opening. So they become part of a lot of what we do. but we are trying to put them together with some other poses today, like Cobra, to open things up a little bit more. So you're exhaling and bringing your left hip down. So look for the course. It's going to be a little while. I'm almost done with the videotaping, and now I'm editing, and that always takes time. Probably in a week or two, it'll be ready to go. Maybe in 2. If you are a member of the Fem 40 cycling team, you're going to get first dibs on it. I'll be sending that course out to all the members of the Fem 40 who were really busy this weekend. I saw a lot of Instagram posts of bikes and dogs and camping and lots of fun. All right, so almost done here. Now I'm going to bring my left knee back. I'm going to curl my toe back under, but just for a moment, because what I'm going to do is come back into a child's pose again. And again, big toes together, knees wide, sit my butt back. This time, notice if you feel anything different, if you feel like your hips are a little more open, because inevitably when I do pigeon pose and then I come into a child, it's like, oh, there we go, I'm a little more open now. Like my butt comes back a little bit farther. I feel like I can get my back a little flatter. And remember, we're not doing traditional poses where we just hold them. This is a far more active practice of yoga where we're moving with our breath. The inhale is to relax and the exhale is to sink a little bit more deeply. And we do that because of the research on stretching, which suggests that this kind of breath-guided stretching is more effective than anything else when it comes to lengthening muscle tissue and fascia. Just a couple more breaths, and this will be it. I'm going to get a little bit of rolling on the foam roller tonight. All right, let's come on up into our seated position. Again, thank you for joining us tonight on Yoga for Recovery. Go to simpleendurancecoaching.com for more coaching and strength training and yoga information, and set up a virtual coffee. We can talk more about your training and see how you're doing with things. So find your breath into your belly. Bring it as low as you can. And we'll raise our arms up. Inhale, bring them together. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Namaste. I don't usually do that on Mondays, but it felt appropriate today.